Good evening, everyone. This is the Amherst Conservation Commission. It is 7:09 on the 11th of February, 2026. And today we will have a couple of hearings are planned, and after that we will be discussing the conservation land management policy and regulations. And after that, we'll be talking about whatever other business we've got. Um, as far as the chair's report, not much to say other than we are still in a drought situation until probably this snow melts. Um, let's see if any commissioners would like to have anything put on the schedule for discussion. Please let me know, and I will ensure that the whatever it is gets put on the schedule. And that's it for me. I'll pass it on to Dave Zomek for the director's report. Dave?
Sure, thanks, Andre. I really don't have much tonight. Excuse me. We did, still dealing with a little cold here. Apologies. We did last night hold a MEPA review meeting for the Puffers Pond project. I believe there may have been a commissioner or two in the audience. This is really the very start of the process to look at dam and dike and other improvements up at Puffers Pond. Very early in the process. We do not have any funding, as I've said before, beyond design of maintenance and improvements to the dam and dike at Puffers. The meeting itself, it was virtual. It was attended by about 22 different people, a number of people from North Amherst, very good comments about the importance of Puffers Pond, the value of Puffers Pond to the public, to wildlife. Our consultants, Fuss and O'Neill, showed some of the design plans for improvements to the dam and dike. Really not substantial to the dam at all. The dike does need a little bit more work in terms of armoring the dike. It's an earthen dike that hasn't really gotten much attention over the decades. So we're very early in the process, and this was one of the first steps, is to hold this required meeting with MEPA reviewers and other state agencies there. So much more to come on that. Obviously, notices of intent will come your way many months from now. So it's very early, but nice to get that process going. The first phase of that process will be really dam and dike improvements. The second phase or two, pending any funding from the town or state grants, may involve things like dredging, beach improvements, trail improvements. And I think Aaron and I have mentioned this before. So it was nice to get that process kicked off. The other thing that happened late last week, Thursday night, the CPA committee finished their review and voting on the CPA proposals across the board: housing, conservation, recreation, and historic preservation. And they voted and made completed their recommendations. So those will now go on to the town council for the council's review. That, though, on the conservation side, that included $100,000 for trail improvements and $100,000 to keep to continue funding signs for conservation and recreation areas throughout town. So those are my two quick updates. Moving processes along. It's kind of nice to see things that we've been talking about for a long time moving forward. That's all I have tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave. Bruce has a question.
Dave, with regard to the Conway School Lawrence Swamp public meeting, I can't go. I would encourage other members to go, but could you just speak to that and just very briefly?
Yes, thanks. Thanks for the reminder, Bruce. So many things going on, and that one slipped my mind. So as I mentioned before, we are working with the Conway School of Design. This is a little project that I initiated, working in part with Bruce and some of the staff at Conway to look at some history, some land use, conservation status of land in the greater Lawrence Swamp area. Working with our DPW, of course, they manage, control and manage a number of acres, hundreds of acres of land down there as well for our wells. We do have a meeting on Thursday. We invited, it's a smaller meeting. We did not invite full boards and committees, but we did put that out to Andre and Bruce as chair and vice chair. I believe Andre can be there.
I will be there.
And then we also have representatives from the Water Supply Protection Committee, because of course they work closely with our DPW on water supply issues and protection. And then we have some stakeholders. We have the Hitchcock Center for the Environment, Kestrel Trust, Department of Conservation and Recreation, and then our three consultants from, or three students, wonderful students. They're doing a terrific job from Conway School. So if Bruce cannot make it because of other conflicts, and there was one other member of the commission who would like to attend, we'd be happy to have you there. Aaron could maybe remind me of the time on that, or I could look on my phone.
1 to 2:30.
1 to 2:30. Thank you, Andre. If there's one other member of the commission who would like to attend, we'd be happy to have you. You can get back to Aaron if you'd like, if you know, if you don't know tonight.
It sounds great. Bruce, you have another question or comment? No. Dave, would you mind touching on the status of the signs? I know we heard about that a while ago. What do we have going on with the signage for the conservation trails and so on?
Yeah, we've actually made a lot of progress. It's been a bit of a slog. It is much more complicated than, frankly, than we anticipated when we started. But you saw the family of signs, and that has not changed. We have a number of signs in various stages of development and design. We're working with a wonderful designer from Northampton, Seth Gregory. And, you know, so these are signs both for street identification of conservation areas, but they are also signs to replace existing signs and populate new kiosks that we're proposing to put up at major trailheads around town. If you think about, you know, populating the Sweet Alice kiosk, Podic, Catherine Cole, Mount Pollux, there isn't a kiosk. So this funding from CPA will buy kiosks, the actual production of the signs, fabrication and production of the signs, and then this is both for conservation areas as well as recreation areas. So give us another month or so and we can come back to you with more details on this, but we would be putting this out to bid to sign companies later this spring. And we can have an update for you with some visuals in a month or so.
All right, thank you. Thanks, Dave. Next, we'll discuss the minutes if there's any discussion to have. We have which minutes there, Aaron, if you don't mind?
We have the minutes from January 14th and January 28th.
Okay.
And this is where we have a somebody who's assisting with us in town hall with giving some administrative support to put these together. So she's just sort of getting the hang of it. So if you're noticing anything that was missed, feel free to add it in. I did do a quick update, which was I think it was on the 14th, if I remember correctly, when Rachel joined at 8:15. I just added that detail in on the last set because I think it was left off the original version. So that was added in. Other than that, if anyone has any edits, I'm happy to incorporate them.
Bruce?
Yeah, I just asked that the pattern of having the name of the person who wrote the minutes put at the bottom the way we had done before, and noting that Aaron reviewed them.
Sure.
That makes sense. So with that addition or that edit, do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
I move to approve the minutes from 1/14/2026 and 1/28/2026.
Thanks, Bruce. Bruce with the motion. Do
I
we have a
second the
second?
motion.
And Jason seconds. Jason?
Aye.
Rachel?
Aye.
Carol?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
And Bruce?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. So the minutes are approved. Do we have any updates on land use other than the fact that we're going to be discussing the regs and policy?
No land use applications or anything for this meeting.
All right. With that, then we're going to move into our hearings. We have two today. Just so we have, so it's clear, the general procedures for fairness is that each hearing has 20 minutes dedicated to it. The applicant will have 5 minutes to present. Staff will have 5 minutes to comment. The public will have 5 minutes to comment, or 2 minutes per person. And then 5 minutes for conservation commissioners. All submitted and revised materials need to be submitted by Wednesday, the week before the meeting at close of business. Presenters, please give your name, address of the project, and who you're representing, and if you have any preferred pronouns. And for members of the public, state your name, address, and if you have preferred pronouns. Robert's Rules of Order. All attendees, including commissioners, should be muted unless they're speaking. Anyone wishing to speak needs to raise their hand before they have the floor, and I will call on them when it's the proper time. And that's just about sums it up. Our first hearing is notice of intent. Stonefield Engineering and Design on behalf of Amir Mikchi of Fort River LLC for the proposed construction of a mixed-use structure, housing and commercial, with proposed parking, stormwater, and associated site work and landscaping at 126, 140, and 148 Southeast Street and 43 Belchertown Road, map 15C, lots 7, 8, 9, and 48. So do we have someone who will be speaking to that? Aaron, you're muted. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I can pull in the representative.
Okay. Josh Klein. Hello, Josh. You're muted right now. Hello, Josh. You're still showing as
Yes,
muted. No, you're not.
it was
Okay.
just letting me in.
So, yeah. So, did you hear the Robert's Rules of Order?
I did. I'm going to introduce myself.
Okay, go ahead.
Josh Klein, Stonefield Engineering and Design, partner, licensed professional engineer. We're representing the applicant for River LLC. I don't have too much to say. I'm going to turn it over to Erin. We did meet with her in advance of the meeting. We kind of sent a response in, kind of in our review of the peer reviews. We kind of gave our feedback, which I saw she posted to the website. And we're looking forward to kind of working with Erin, the future peer reviewers. And we hope to be back. I think we requested a continuous to April 8th. That'll give time for the commission to onboard the peer reviews, the peer reviewers to conduct the review, and for us to get him back in front of this commission.
All right, Josh, thank you. If everyone could please mute yourselves until it's time that you want to speak. All right, Erin.
I don't have a ton to add. I'll say that we did meet, Josh and I met with the assistant planning director last week to go over some potential plan revisions, and we discussed the peer review and sort of their timeline. And the applicant requested that we try to move forward with seeking quotes for the peer review while they're working on revisions, so that we can try to sort of keep the timeline or the just keep the process moving along as quickly as possible for them, which I'm more than happy to do. So I tried to queue up a motion on the PowerPoint, basically that sorry, that seeks authorization from the applicant for the commission to employ the outside consultation for the draft scopes. And I sent the draft scopes to the commission, as well as a list of requested information that's needed in order for those peer reviewers to complete the peer review. And then just use the timeline of the 4 weeks from tonight's meeting to give the applicant an opportunity to prepare their revisions and submit requested information. And in the meantime, I can seek out quotes from the peer reviewers so that we can try to get the review moving along as quickly as possible.
All right, thanks, Erin. And now there seems to be a slight discrepancy between the April 8th and March 25th dates that Josh mentioned, and and what we have on our hearing PowerPoint.
Yeah, so Josh mentioned in his email that he needed 3 to 4 weeks, so I just assumed 4 weeks from tonight. He said from tonight's meeting, that's how much time they would need in order to prepare the revisions. So I used that date as the date for the submission of the revised materials. And then I believe they requested to be heard on the first meeting in April. So that's where or I'm sorry, was it March or April? Did I mix up that date? I thought was it March 25th you requested, or was it April? I thought it
Go
was
ahead,
March.
Josh.
March 25th. I might have
Okay.
mentioned April. I think I saw online a different application requested April, but no, March 25th is the meeting.
Okay, so
Thank
they'd
you, Josh.
submit the materials by the 11th, and then the hearing would be on the 25th.
Okay. All right, makes sense. Bruce, we can.
When we get to the commissioner time.
Thank you. All right. Do we have any members of the public who wish to comment for this hearing? Let me see hands. I see a hand. Oh, that's Bruce. I don't see any public attendees raising hands. So with that said, Bruce, why don't you go ahead? Carol, can you mute yourself until it's time
Oh,
for you to
sorry, I
speak?
thought I was.
Thank you. No problem. Go
So,
ahead, Bruce.
Erin, can you walk us through the aspects of the Mullen Rule, how that might influence all this.
Yeah, so I just have been keeping track of commissioners who have missed this hearing. So as of tonight, we have 3 commissioners who've missed the hearing, and the significance of that is that commissioners can only miss a hearing once, and if they miss it more than once, they can't vote on the project. So it's really just my way of as we move forward, because we know this is going to take a couple months between the extension and the peer reviews, to just make sure that I'm keeping a tally on attendance of meetings that folks miss so that we can ensure that we have a quorum to vote at the end.
I think this is a really helpful little graphic that we could use in every hearing if it's relevant. Thank you.
Thanks, Bruce. It's a great comment. And thanks for doing that, Aaron. Sarah.
So I just have a question about the email that's in the file for this hearing. Since you guys are here, maybe you can explain it. From Tuesday, February 10th from Stephen, talking about wanting the commission members to walk through the field.
That's a different hearing, Sarah.
Oh, okay.
That's for the second hearing on the agenda.
Oh, got it. Sorry about that. Never
Thanks,
mind.
Sarah.
I'll hold
Yeah,
on to that.
You got it. All right. Well, with that, then I don't see any more commissioners' hands up with questions. So we have 2 motions written up here. I think the one that we're looking for is the first long motion, if I'm not correct. Aaron, is that what we're looking for here?
Yes,
looks
we'll
pretty
need to
small.
make both of the motions.
Both of them. Okay. The writing is pretty small. If there's a way that you could perhaps make it a little bigger for us, just for now.
I'll make the motion. We're making both motions, you said, Aaron? I'll
Yes.
make the
Yes.
motion. Conservation Commission moves to seek authorization from the applicant to employ an outside consultant under MGL Part 1, Title 7, Chapter 44, Section 53G, to review revised application materials, requested information, as noted in January 30th, 2026 memo from the conservation agent regarding requested information needed prior to initiation of peer review services and staff recommended scope of work under Chapter 44, Section 53G. In accordance with the proposed 3 drafted scopes of work for engineering, hydrogeologic, and licensed site professional services to determine compliance of said project with the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, wetlands protection under the Town of Amherst General Bylaw, Massachusetts Stormwater Management Standards, and the Town of Amherst Stormwater Management Bylaw and regulations. The applicant shall submit requested information and revised plans by no later than March 11th, 2026 for review. Peer review contract shall not be executed unless requested information is submitted and revised materials are received in a timely manner by noted date.
Thank you, Jason. While you catch your breath, we're looking for a second.
A second.
Rachel with a second. Rachel.
Aye.
Bruce.
Aye.
Jason.
Aye.
Carol.
Aye.
Sarah.
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Now we have a second
I will
motion.
also move to continue the public hearing for DEP number 089-0765 to March 25th, 2026 at 7:20 p.m.
Second.
All right, Jason with a motion and Bruce with a second. Bruce.
Aye.
Jason.
Aye.
Carol.
Aye.
Rachel.
Aye.
Sarah.
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Well, Josh, thank you for coming again today. We'll see you March 25th, and we're looking forward to the information and revised plan by no later than March 11th. Thanks
Perfect.
again. Have a good night.
Thank you. Good evening.
All right. Our second meeting, or our second hearing is a notice of intent, Goddard Consulting LLC on behalf of Roxana and Dakota Freeman for the proposed construction of a new single-family home with associated shed, utilities, driveway, and associated mitigation within the buffer zone of bordering and isolated vegetated wetlands at 750 West Street, map 22B, lot 1. Do we have someone here to speak to this?
I don't believe the applicant
Hmm.
is here this evening. They did request a continuation. Um, they they requested a continuation to April 8th, so I put them on as the first hearing on the agenda.
Mhm.
They also have requested a site visit to be conducted prior to hopefully that hearing to walk the site again and potentially sort of recategorize the isolated wetlands. So they are requesting the opportunity to have meet with the commission out there and go over the delineation. Um, I I mean again I didn't actually go through this one to determine the attendance for the hearings, but as we're continuing to April, just wanted to flag that we're probably having similar issues with attendance on that hearing as well. And it might be worthwhile. I put this in there for the commission to consider if we are extending this to April 8th, which is several months out, that the commission may want to consider requiring that a plan be submitted prior to the next hearing, so that you have an opportunity to review any revisions prior to that hearing. And specifically, I know the commission has already advised the applicant on keeping the house outside of the 100-foot no work zone, um, and potentially reducing the footprint, moving it closer to the road. So I don't know, those are things that the commission could consider requiring so that for the next meeting, we're better prepared to have something to review as opposed to kicking it forward and not having revisions to consider at the next meeting.
Okay, and what they're requesting is that we go and do a site visit prior to that meeting. Is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And certainly it'll be dependent on snow melt and everything, but they're
Mhm.
in hopes that the ground will be thawed out and that the snow will be thawed by then so that the commission can walk the site. I also did not have a chance to confirm the delineation for this site. It was filed in late October, and I did conduct one site visit, but the day that I was scheduled to go out to really bushwhack the site, it snowed pretty significantly. So that also still needs to be done.
All right, thanks, Aaron. If there's any member of the public who would like to comment on this proposal, please put your hand up now. I see we have 3 attendees from the public. If there's anyone who has a comment, please raise your hands. Okay, I see no members of the public raising their hands. So we go to Bruce. Go ahead, Bruce.
Is it fair to assume that the site visit opportunities are April 2nd, 3rd, 6th, and 7th? Because we would have the plan in our hands in order to go out there to look at it under the current framework that's being requested. You're on mute.
Sorry about that. I think I requested a week ahead of the hearing date that they requested a continuance to. So yeah, I think, it would be fair to schedule a site visit on the second, third, sixth, or seventh.
Okay. If you can do it on the 3rd or the 6th, it would be better for me, but don't hold it up just for that.
Could you say those days
Second
again,
and
Bruce?
3rd.
Schedule a site
Sorry,
visit
the 3rd or the 6th, the Friday or the Monday. But
3rd or 6th of April. No, that's
don't
really
do it just
helpful.
for me.
That's really helpful, Bruce, because I can get that on the calendar ahead of time and you know, be prepared. I mean, the other piece is, just it's entirely up to you. When I word these, I'm trying to cover all the bases in like a draft motion. You guys can always modify these motions. Just in the instance that and revisions are not submitted, I when I give a deadline, it basically gives you the ability to make a decision as to whether you're going to act on it that night or not. So you can always allow more time if you choose to, or you can, you know, eliminate that requirement. It's totally up to you. Just trying to queue it up to give you guys the opportunity to act if you feel you need to. Like, for example, if they come back and they don't provide any revisions to the plan and you guys are feeling like we've given you plenty of opportunities over months to revise this and you haven't submitted it to us, then it gives you that opportunity to act that night.
Yeah, and as I remember, Aaron, we did request revisions of them in our last meeting with them or a previous meeting. Is that, am I?
The last two meetings we have requested revisions, so that's why it's at that point.
And and they're not submitted yet, but do they plan to, I mean, obviously before we go out and do a site visit, we're going to want to have those revisions. If not, we're going to be going there semi-blindly. Okay. Well, Sarah has the next question or comment.
Sorry, yeah, now I have the question in the right meeting. I just have a question about this email because I don't understand. I mean, there's not somebody here from the Goddard to explain it. But when they say they want the commission to go out there to see if we can either connect the small isolated wetlands to the larger wetland, making them borderline vegetated wetlands, or eliminate them altogether. And then if they, I don't know, he seems to be talking about making a, I don't understand what he's saying. Can you explain, Aaron?
Um, yeah, I mean, I responded back and said to that email and said basically, um, I I wouldn't feel comfortable reclassifying the wetlands or removing the wetlands from the plan to accommodate the house. Um, I would feel more comfortable if we could revise the house location to make sure that we can approve it under the regulations. So that was my response to that.
What did he say to that? I mean, are they
Uh,
planning to do that?
he didn't respond yet. It was only sent out late this afternoon,
Oh,
that I
okay.
responded to. That email
Oh,
was
I
just
see.
received.
Oh, got it. Okay.
And I'm sorry, what was the second part of your question?
I was just, what you just said is what it sound. I mean, I'm not so familiar with the terminology, but that's what it sounded like to me, that he was saying we have the authority to sort of make changes to what exists on the ground, which doesn't seem right. I mean, we wouldn't do that, right?
You're reading it like I am as well, Sarah. It sounds to me like an attempt to reclassify the wetlands for whatever reason. And yeah,
I just wonder whether, since people are saying that he's been asked more than, or they've been asked more than once to redo the plan, maybe they're not hearing that somehow. Do you think they need clarification? Like,
Well, yeah, I mean, I've communicated them to them twice in writing, saying, the commission said they weren't going to um, grant a waiver for putting the house within the 100-foot no work zone to the isolated wetlands. Uh, the, I, the
Okay.
response has been wanting to discuss that, and I think they're having a hard time figuring out how to get the plan where they want it to be, and still meet the regulations. So I kind of gave them the best guidance I could with what I see on the lot. This is like the one place you really have to work with to put the house, and really have the commission give some flexibility and not have to grant waivers. Um, uh,
That's what
but
you said in your response
but
to me.
yeah, but I think the motion is really what that motion by the commission is what is going to give you sort of the regulatory authority at the next meeting to say, we've asked for these revisions, we've given you a deadline, we need it by this date, and we're willing there. Obviously, the commission's willing to do a site visit to go back out there and take another look. I'm more than willing to look at the delineation again, but they also have to do their part to get us revisions in a timely way so that the commission can make a decision.
So, yeah, I mean, really, we're in the driver's seat here. We can give them the benefit of the doubt, whatever they're trying to communicate to us. We can leave that aside and essentially make our requests or demands prior to a site visit. We've asked them for revisions, and we can set a deadline for that and move from there on. Their request or the comment about merging different kinds of wetlands and reclassifying and so on. I think we can just leave aside and focus on what our authority is. Thanks, Sarah. And
Thanks.
Carol? You're muted.
So I have the same concern that Sarah did. And I think I've heard before applicants make requests that we somehow change the rules to fit their needs. And as far as I understand it, that's not what we do. I also wondered if we were going to look at recategorizing isolated wetlands on a site visit in early April. Would the ground conditions be amenable to that? It's probably still going to be pretty wet.
I'd imagine so.
That's all.
Thanks, Carol. Bruce?
So, Aaron, I want to go back to the Mullins rule. So if the Mullins rule material in red were on this one and it said Tina was absent, given that all we're doing is moving to continue, it doesn't matter, right? We're in a hearing. If she misses any aspect of this hearing tonight, then that's the time that she can miss.
Well,
Despite the fact that we're essentially doing nothing.
Yeah, so if you guys were just making a straight continuation and not doing it, not having any discussion, I would say in that case, it wouldn't impact Mullen Rule because you're not taking
Okay.
any public comment, any testimony, any discussion. In this case, where the commission's discussing it, I think it does
Okay.
open that door.
That's the fine grained distinction I was looking for. Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Bruce. Any other comments or suggestions? All right, I don't see any others. With that, we're looking for a motion. I mean, I believe we should be requiring these, and I would imagine that most of us believe that. So we have two motions there. Who's brave enough to go for that first one?
I move to require submittal of revised plan designs relocating the proposed house site and associated work outside of the 100-foot no work zone to isolated vegetated wetlands. The commission may approve the house footprint within the 50-foot no work to bordering vegetated wetlands if the house is moved closer to the road, the driveway length is reduced, and mitigation is provided. The applicant shall submit revised plans by no later than April 1st, 2026, addressing the commission's required revisions, or the commission may deny the project for lack of information.
Thank you, Jason. With that, we're looking for a second.
I second it.
That was Sarah.
Yep.
All right, Jason with a motion and Sarah with a second. Sarah,
Aye.
Carol,
Aye.
Rachel,
Aye.
Bruce,
I,
Jason,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. First motion is approved.
I move to continue the public hearing for DEP number 089-0766 to April 8th, 2026 at 7:15 p.m.
Seconded. That's Sarah.
It's Jason with a motion, Sarah with a second. Carol,
Aye.
Sarah,
Aye, sorry. I had trouble getting it back.
no problem. Rachel,
Aye.
Bruce, you have your hand up.
I,
Okay, okay, Jason,
Aye.
and I'm an aye.
now,
Eh,
if I may,
yes, please.
I object to our lackluster performance in forcing Jason to read these incredibly long motions. I think other people should step up in future. Thank you.
Well said. All right, with that, so we will be continuing this hearing to April 8th at 7:15. And now we will move into a discussion of conservation land management policy and regulations. I see a couple of hands up. I don't know if Bruce, yours is up from before. No, Aaron's got a hand up.
Sorry to jump in. I just had one question. And it was because I was taking notes during the motions. Just want to make sure for the 750 West Street, there was two motions, one for the information to be submitted prior to the next continued hearing, and one was for the continuation itself. But for the previous hearing, the Southeast Street project, was the second motion also made on that one to continue? Okay, I didn't
Yes,
get it in
both.
my notes, so I just wanted to verify that both motions were made.
Yeah, Jason made them both.
Great, thank you.
Mhm. And I believe the second on those were both Bruce? No.
I didn't, but it's in the recording, so they'll pick it up.
Got it. Okay, so we left off last time, I thought, on page 5, is that correct? We can all unmute ourselves now, since we're all gonna be having a discussion, unless you you care to mute yourselves.
Yes.
Sarah?
I just wonder whether process-wise, we might have a different system of getting through this. Like, for example, if we all provided our comments to Erin and she compiled them and circulated it, do we? No, you're shaking your head. We have to do it like this.
Well, we're still going, whether we do that or not,
Yeah.
we're still gonna have to discuss it all at the same, all of us together.
Okay.
I mean, yeah,
That's
anything we
fine.
can do to refine it. I'm losing my voice somehow. Yeah, what page were we on? I mean, am I making sense? Sarah, please correct me if you don't agree. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I just was wondering if there was some way to shorten the process.
I wish we could. I'm not seeing it right now. Bruce.
one way to do that is to make sure we're talking about substantive things and leave the copy editing for later, because that isn't, we don't need to talk about or even point out that there's a missing capitalization or something else. Let's just stick to the substantive matter.
Okay, makes sense.
So the version that we're looking at right now is the edits that we made at the last meeting up into this section G. I have gone through and made edits to those. Most of those have been updated with the exception of a couple things. But this is where we left off, was this number 16 we didn't talk about yet.
Okay. And
Aaron, could you make that a little larger?
Yes.
Thank you. Agreed.
Yeah,
There we go.
nice, that looks good.
thank you.
And Jason, were you wanting to discuss something here?
On number 16,
No, not specific to number 16. I forget what we were talking about.
previously we were talking about public comments
Mhm.
and just, I asked why we are receiving both public comments through the public comment portal, and then why Erin's just getting emails then from people asking her to forward it to all of the members of the Conservation Commission, and then she has to redact information and then forward it to us. I personally think that we ought to just adopt a policy, or I think a policy of public comments need to go through the public comment portal if you want the commissioners to see them, and that Erin should not be tasked with having to redact and forward emails to us if they're not going to be public. If a comment comes to us, it should be a public comment, and we should not be accepting just emails sent to Erin any further.
Thanks, Jason. I agree with that. There are some instances where applicants might send an email, and I think there was an issue where an applicant sent an email and wanted it to go to the commissioners, but then didn't specify that. But that's another story. I think that any kind of public comment type emails
Non-applicant.
that are received, yeah, should go through the public comment portal instead of having this editing. And maybe you can have a standardized response that you send back to them with a link to the public comment portal. Do we have other ideas or opinions on this or agreement?
I mean, I think I mentioned this at the beginning before the meeting started, but I follow the same process that Athena follows for the town council, which is, if we receive an email and it's intended for the Conservation Commission, I will respond to them and say, we have this public portal, this public comment portal. If you'd like to submit your comment through here. Otherwise, I don't forward it on unless they specifically ask me to. So like I'll receive a lot of emails that are clearly intended for the Conservation Commission, but they're directed to me. And those I typically field because they're not specifically requesting that they be forward. But if somebody sends me an email and says to the Amherst Conservation Commission, I feel a little conflicted when it doesn't come in through the portal because it's obviously intended for you guys to be the recipient, but it's also may contain personally identifiable information that I'm not authorized to post on our town website. So I just share it with you via personal email. I guess it's challenging because sometimes I'll send people the portal link and they don't resubmit their comment. It's kind of like, forcing somebody to turn on their TV camera if they don't want to. Like if they just want to send an email, can I tell them, well, we're not going to accept an email? It just, if that's the policy you guys want to initiate, that's fine. It's just, it's awkward for me, I guess, to try to be the intermediary of communication.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Aaron. Jason?
Yeah, I think you should do that, Aaron, meaning you should just essentially respond back to them and say, um, please send all comments through the public portal. Like this email is not going to be forwarded to the Conservation Commission. If you wish the Conservation Commission to see this communication, please send it via the public uh, portal and just have that be a standard response. Now, that's for non-applicants. I understand that with applicants, you have to have that back and forth with them, and that's fine. And those emails, it's my understanding those emails generally always end up in our packets anyway.
Right.
Exactly.
So those are public as well. But those people, there's a difference between, you doing things with the applicants for, that's your job and that's what you're supposed to be doing versus fielding some public comments. And I do think that if you're going to make a public comment, you fill that out and it's public. It's all,
Yeah, yeah, as opposed to emails that are coming to us that don't get put out to the public. I mean, that's still communications that probably should be made public anyway. Meaning they should be going to the portal. Just a thought. Sarah?
This is not, I have a question, so finish with this first. It's not related to this.
Mine is related to this.
Bruce?
Aaron, I have a suggestion about the language that when you send it back to them and say, I think you should say, the commission has instructed me to send back emails and ask that you put it in the portal. So they're not thinking that it's sort of your personal decision about whether to do it, that you're acting on our behalf to ask them to put it in the portal.
I'll suggest I was about to suggest that we actually just take a vote on this and have it be policy.
Can
And
I
that
just-
way, per policy, blah, blah, per Conservation Commission policy, so on. Aaron?
Just one situation that was a standout. I had one member of the public come to me and they didn't want their comment posted in the packet. They wanted it to be shared with the commission, but not posted public facing. Regarding, I think it was an incident that happened at conservation land, and they were concerned for their own safety, or it was an issue related to walking and having some type of a negative interaction with another trail user. So that would be a situation where that particular person might be sort of disinclined to share information that the commission may want to know, if they're unwilling to share it through a public portal. So it's just food for thought that there may be occasional situations where things like that happen, but if that is your overall policy, then that's completely up to you.
Yeah, I mean, that would be sort of like somebody making a public comment without providing their name. I mean, it's supposed to be a public hearing, public meetings, I mean. Right? I mean, what kind of guidance would we find from the state, the Attorney General's office on public meetings? What would with that kind of communication? That's what I kind of wonder. We would be falling. That's where we would be guided by, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, I don't want to get too deep in the weeds with it, but it's kind of a one-off situation where people who may feel the need to share some sort of information with you about something that happened on conservation land, for example, not related to a hearing or an open meeting or anything like that. They might, for example, let's say somebody got bit by a dog or something and they knew the person who had the dog and they said they wanted to talk to the commission about it, but didn't want it to be public. I mean, it is public, it's all public record, but it's just not in a packet that's on the internet with their email. So again, it's just sort of a one-off situation that I've encountered. It would just it would mean that I wouldn't be sharing that information with the board.
All right, well, maybe we can discuss individual, individual issues like that as they arise. But I think in general, we don't want to have two lines of communication, is what we're hearing here. Bruce had his hand up. Bruce, you're set? Jason?
Yeah, I would just err on the side of transparency. Like, I understand if we talked about the hunting previously, and we looked at some of the rationale for banning hunting, and in my opinion, it was all hearsay and just anecdotal. So if there is something we need to know to make a decision, it can't be based on hearsay or anecdote. It can't be, hey, this thing happened to me, but I don't really want to make it public. Like, I feel for that and I understand that position. But if we're going to be making a decision on something, I think that it needs to be clear, and it cannot be or appear to be anecdotal or hearsay.
Thanks, Jason. Carol?
Do you think, Aaron, that sometimes people send emails because they're really not familiar with how to use the public portal?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, where it's an educational process, and that's
Yeah.
one of the reasons why I put it in my email signature. And for a while there, I had a separate slide on our PowerPoint presentation, making people aware of the portal for public comments. And I do, respond back to people and let them know if they submit a comment that we have this portal. So I think as time goes on, it'll become more commonplace, but not every department has a portal, not every town has them. So, ordinarily people would just send an email. So it's a little kind of
Yeah.
a special
I mean,
difference
that's
here.
my guess. That's why that you might be getting some things as emails. People who've been more familiar with the way the town government works, that seems normal. But, emails are what also seem normal to people who are not familiar with it.
So maybe some instructions on on your responses then.
Yeah,
But
I think that's fair.
Yeah, I think in general that's what we're looking for is general policy that sends comments and so on to the commission through the public comment portal, and perhaps some instructions to go with that. And if there's some exceptions, then you can discuss that with the chair or the chair and the vice chair at the time, and we can figure things out, whoever it is.
Okay, that sounds good.
All right, well, thanks. With that, Sarah has the floor with your question.
Oh, wait, not needed. I just had a question, because you're saying that this draft incorporates what we talked about last time. Is that correct, Aaron?
She's muted right now, but she did say she did incorporate in the materials that we've already reviewed. She's incorporated our comments that we made during that review. But
Okay, because I really was hoping that that there would be a discussion of the conservation department's management of conservation lands. I mean, I see a thing here about having drafted a mowing practices management plan. Can we see that, or what is that going to get included in here?
yeah,
Yeah, so I drafted so yeah, so this version includes the track change edits that I've made addressing the commission's all of the commission's requested edits, or my attempt to address the commission's requested edits from the last meeting. I did insert a right of first refusal policy under chapter 61, 61A, and 61B, which is inserted directly into this document, and that's taken directly from statute. And then separate from that, I did start to assemble the makings of a sort of mowing policy, I guess you would say, which I've shared with Dave Z to um, uh, have so that him and I could review that and bring it back to the commission.
So just so that I'm clear, because I thought we were going to put something in here, but that will get put in. It's just still in process and we'll be looking at it at some point. Okay, got it. Thank you. That's all.
When are we going to see that?
I don't know, Andre. Aaron just got it to me, so we'll work on it as best we can among all of our other priorities, and we'll get it to you as soon as we can.
All right, so, but that's going to be part of, is that going to be part of the policies that we're discussing, or is that, okay, so sometime prior to the votes?
Yeah,
I'd
we'll,
imagine.
we'll see how you do. We actually,
But we're going to give you some time, I'm sure, because this is going to take a little while.
yeah, we actually have to have a public hearing on whatever you produce anyway. So there's quite a bit of time here before these are put into place. Thanks.
I can't raise my hand. I think we should take a look at it though before it, whatever the management practices are, should get approved by the commission and then put into this document before it goes out to the public. So
Yes,
that's all.
that is the
Yeah,
plan to have
Okay.
us.
I just want to
Well,
make sure.
it didn't sound that way when you were just saying that.
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, it'll just be a section that can be cut and pasted, put in, you can review, go back and forth on, and then that whole, presumably this whole document, with or without hunting, goes to a public hearing, whatever the commission decides.
Great.
Thank you. Carol?
I've been thinking about the vote that we took to include camping by permit, or not to say it was refused or not permitted. And I just point out that there's 3 other things that aren't permitted that kind of go along with camping: open fires, smoking, alcoholic beverages, all in that same list. And I'm thinking about what Dave, you said about difficulties in policing all of this. Is that going to bring up more problems? That's all.
What kind of problems are you referring to? Do you mean fires and drunk people and
Well, you don't have to be drunk. Smoking. Yeah, I mean, these are.
when
If
there's I could say that when there's a regulation that there's no one to enforce, then sometimes you end up with confrontations between different users who try to enforce it. But I don't know, Dave has a comment here.
I think the short answer is yes, it's going to make it more complicated. There's right now again, this is just draft. There's no open fires, but when you're camping, you either have a fire or you have a kerosene, some sort of something to make food or boil water. So there's a flame. I would recommend you keep going through the 24-page draft policy. Aaron and I have some thoughts on the discussion 2 weeks ago. We'd like to see how you do, and we might respond when you get through the 24 pages and say, here's 3 or 4 things or 4 or 5 things that we just want to bring to your attention before you finalize these. But I know
Right.
it's getting a little late now, 8:15, so
And we're
perhaps
at
we
page
move through.
5 still. Yeah. Thank you, Dave. So the last thing that we discussed was G, and now we're looking at the old page 5, number 16, that starts with plants, nuts, seeds, etc. Right, okay, so is there any comment on number 16? Jason?
I thought this came up previously. Is there any, do we need to put any language in here regarding indigenous peoples being able to utilize plants, nuts, seeds, fruits?
Yeah, so I did incorporate and this is I would encourage the commission to before the next meeting take a look at the edits that I made. And I know Tina was going to get me something but I didn't hear back from her, so I did do some research myself. And this is what I added in, which is under that first sentence where folks are welcome to the land. It notes Wampanoag hunting, fishing, trapping, gathering rights are protected federally via United States versus Winans, and then the reference, and then by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts resolution recognizing and protecting ancient and aboriginal claim of the Indians of the Commonwealth. And I found a couple documents relative to that, which we could include as in the appendices of our document if the commission wanted to or not. So that's what,
I would
yes.
make it a little more, I can help you with that. I'd make it a little more general than that, just
Okay.
indigenous hunt, these things are protected by federal and actually state law. You could just say federal and state law, you don't have to worry about, anyway.
Sure.
And actually, the town council probably has an idea about that also.
Okay. Yeah, I'm happy to edit. However, I was trying to come up with something to
Yeah,
address the
no, that's
comment.
good. That's good.
Thanks, Aaron. So back to 16 there. I do have just an addition here, real brief. On line 4, well, if we start on line 3, it says, or for scientific purposes to control invasive species or other purposes authorized case by case by the commission. I would write through a permit on a case by case basis.
That
Rather
sounds
than,
good.
as opposed to verbal or whatever. I mean, if someone's contacted out in the field, they would need to have a permit rather than, yeah, somebody told me.
Should we just state, Aaron, I thought you said land use permit, the specific permit?
Did you want the land use permit referenced in there or just permit?
Land use permit is
Okay.
is more specific,
Okay. Okay.
like Jason just said.
Sure.
Dogs. I would just a quick note before even changing or anything or whatever. I would put B first because that's the beginning of it. Essentially, dogs must be leashed at all times, rather than they're not allowed at Puffer's Pond. Dogs are not must be leashed at all times. Blah blah blah. Puffer's Pond is secondary. I don't have anything else on those first two. Does anybody else have something on the first two on A or B? I don't see that. I don't see anybody saying anything, so we're gonna go to
Andre?
C. Yes,
Andre,
I'm sorry, Rachel.
just had to note the comment on C, especially elderly and children. It sort of negates the power of the statement before. We don't have different rules for elderly and children.
Absolutely. I have a note that we should define what strict voice control is, and we can do that offline.
Okay.
Aaron, we can find something, some kind of definitions. And then during off-leash hours, dogs should be put back on a leash. Shall,
Could you just I just want to make a note of this, Andre. So offline discuss what
definition of strict voice control.
okay, the definition of strict voice control. Just want to get that in here so I don't forget. Okay, and what
Yeah.
was the next item?
Line 3, where it says dogs should be put back on a leash when in the midst of others. That's a
I'm
suggestion rather than I mean, if we want to leave it as a suggestion, I think we should put shall.
this is under C, you said?
Under C, line 3,
Line
it
3.
starts with dogs
Should. Should
or
we say
must.
shall there?
Shall or must, yep.
Okay.
D, if the conservation department determines dog waste, bagged or not, left on the trail is rather than becomes.
Sorry. Okay, got it.
All right, is rather than becomes, and then the next unleashed dogs are rather than become.
Okay.
After the comment says the trail, I would say the affected trail or whatever. It doesn't matter, but and I thought we were looking for periods of more than a month rather than I mean of up to 1 month at a time. Isn't that the way that we said it? That we were
So
discussing it?
just
So
add a time at the end.
for periods of up to 1 month at a
Oh,
time,
got it.
rather than a period.
Got it.
And Andre, didn't we say that it may be closed? I think that was at the discretion of the Director of Conservation. Isn't that?
Yeah, and that's kind of why I wrote in there the Conservation Department determines, or why I
Okay.
suggested, why I'm suggesting Conservation Department determines.
Okay.
Anything else for D? Sorry.
Okay, I just didn't know if I missed anything there. If I did, please let me know.
Do we need to say may instead of will?
Yeah, that's a good one. Yep.
So,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes, absolutely.
okay, cool.
E, I have no comments on E. Anyone else? F. Yeah, and I guess F will be discussed at some point with along with the hunting. G. It says the animal control officer will enforce. There are others who have that authority as well, right? That's like the PD and perhaps the conservation Brad. Is that correct, or am I off?
So maybe just add in police department and land managers.
Yeah, that's cool.
Conservation.
18. Motorized watercraft, including electric motors. Is that something that we want to do? I would say yes.
I I agree, but is that a distinction we need to make over and over again, or is that um something that can be put in like a glossary or definite, like motorized just includes all mechanical?
We had this discussion at length during the subcommittee meeting. We went through, I think, a multitude of ways to describe motorized watercraft and ultimately decided on this. Um, a ton of thought went into it, is all I can say. Um,
Fine, that's fine. I was just looking to give it a little more watercraft
yeah,
related crafts.
if however you guys want to change it, I think it was really like the language of how to um refer to like boats, jet skis, like we tried to do an all-encompassing language there, but um however you see fit in terms of editing, I'm totally fine with.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just imagining some dude with or somebody with a canoe that they attach an electric motor to, and they're putzing around there, and next thing you know, they're in violation, but they have an argument. Anyway,
Well, what's the general purpose of this? Is to prevent people from going at a rate of speed that could be deleterious to others, the noise, the potential pollution from oil and gas, or the disturbance of wildlife.
All of the
all.
above.
I think it's yeah, right. Bruce was there. Yeah. But
So,
I would also say that I mean to keep it as a human powered place. I mean, we're talking about in essence, we're talking about puffers, right? I mean,
well, it's all of them. So I was going to also ask, is there any water body where it is allowed?
no.
So, we can list them out. Motorized, I think saying motorized is good in that it's an electric motor, it's a
Yeah.
internal combustion engine motor, it's a solar powered,
Makes sense.
you know.
Well, let's leave it as is then. I don't have any comments through the rest of to page 20, I mean to number 22. Anyone else?
Did that footnote come up in our scroll? The footnote about the other land, Hickory Ridge? Did we scroll past that yet?
We did
We
scroll past
did.
that.
Yeah, I wondered if we could just take that out. Oh. Yeah,
We felt as though that distinction should be made because it is a big space, and without being really careful about which lands we're talking about, my understanding from Dave is that eventually down the road, someday, it may be incorporated, but it isn't there now.
but would that apply to everything that we're talking about then for Hickory Ridge and not just nested in the dog discussion, but it would be,
That yes, you'd have to talk to Dave about that.
because that might be something
It's a
that
good point.
we put up at the top if it's something that's more of a,
Yeah, I wondered
Yeah.
why it was in that particular place also.
Yeah, I do think if I could, Andre, I think it's an odd place to put it. I might put it as a footnote to the policy or something, but not nested in the dog section would be my recommendation. And yes, a good portion of Hickory will at some point become conservation land, and all rules and regulations and policy will apply to
So that's
a
a good
fair bit of
idea, Dave. Maybe we can put that way up at the beginning of somewhere at the beginning of the policy and regulations, as a footnote there.
Yeah.
I think then everybody knows that all of it applies, that it applies to, that none of what we're regulating applies to Hickory Ridge until.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Either top or bottom works for me. Thanks.
Oh, yeah. All right, thanks, Dave. And Rachel. Yeah, next is hunting. We'll leave that out for now.
And we're gonna talk about that in a separate meeting, correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
In 23, we know that refugia and refugium are both defined in the appendices. So, I did under 23G, exception for beavers and muskrats. It says water levels may be controlled only after a determination has been duly made in the instant case that they have created a public health risk. What does that mean? Because I don't understand it.
I mean, I can try to field that question. So, um, under the state beaver regulations, if somebody wishes to trap outside of season, let's say a beaver has built a dam and it's backing up water onto somebody's septic system or onto a roadway or causing some kind of public health or safety concern. Um, an an applicant can apply to the Board of Health for I believe it's a 10-day emergency beaver removal permit, which grants them permission to trap out of season to alleviate the public health or safety issue. And the same is true for situations where dams need to be taken down. And in the case of dams, it's actually a dual approval between the Board of Health and the Conservation Commission.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking for the actual word. What does the instant case mean? What does that word mean? Because I'm not falling on it. Is that Bruce has his hand up? Do you have an insight to that? You're muted. I'm sorry, Bruce.
I don't know what it means either, and it probably came out of the Massachusetts law in some way. I would recommend striking the word instant and also including up above maybe lethally or unlethally trapped. Because there are ways of trapping beavers without killing them.
How about maybe trapped, including lethally?
Or something, but that includes the two options.
Yeah, yep. Good points. Sarah?
So this has been, so my recommendation is that, generally speaking, just not to try to sort of state what the law is. You can sort of say in accordance with law if you have to, Massachusetts state law or whatever. That's the sort of comment on the form. And then in terms of, so who do you get to the extent that the conservation has commission, excuse me, to the extent that the Conservation Commission is the one with the authority to issue a permit or to, or has the authority to approve a permit to deal with beavers, I think that they, that should be referenced so that it doesn't, this is sort of oddly drafted. It says may be
Yeah.
controlled, but it doesn't say by whom.
Well, that's,
So.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yep, I'm in agreement with you. I have a comment here that said that my comment is by whom?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm sorry, I don't exactly know. Is it the Board of Health that has to issue to the extent there's any question about it, then it seems like the Conservation Commission should have a say beforehand, not
We
after. I
do.
mean, this is a problem we just ran into with Gull Pond. So I don't think, it causes, it's not worth it to get into that. So to the extent the commission should be, approving, they should be approving it in advance. And it's a little confusing because these are written so that technically they would apply to both members of the public and to the town itself, because it's the Conservation Commission that it's really the one in charge of the land in the first instance. So we're writing rules that actually apply to the town as well as to the members of the public. So I think it
Absolutely.
needs to be a little clear in situations like this.
Thanks, Sarah. And the fact is that with the appendices referenced here, when you look at the regulations there, it actually does state, I mean, because that's in the regulations, that the town that for drawdowns and so on, they have to contact both the or anyone needs permission from the Board of Health and the Conservation Commission prior to taking action. Yeah, I think we need to clarify that. Maybe that's something that we can try and work on offline and come back and revisit maybe
I can help you with that, Aaron, if you want. I'm happy to
And-
do that.
maybe you and I could do that.
Okay, yeah, sure. Great.
Yeah.
There is also a whole separate section on beavers as well,
Yeah.
Oh.
just as a sidebar.
Yep.
And then there's a whole appendix on it as well.
Absolutely. And everything is spelled out, meaning all the laws and a flow chart and all that are also there in the appendices. Dave.
Yeah, no, very good conversation. I think where, to me, this gets confusing is actually, this says in the first line, on conservation land. So this to me is very specific as to your authority over conservation land. There's a whole nother section on beavers. So Dave Zomek wants to remove beavers in his backyard or something. There's a clear process through state law for me to follow with the Board of Health and the Concom, or I want to reduce a dam or something. But this is on land you oversee through care, custody, and control. So I think some rewording could really help here, and then maybe look at the other sections with Sarah or Andre.
That's a great point.
The other comment is, yes, beavers can be non-lethally trapped. You just in Massachusetts can't legally move them anywhere. So you can trap them and then let them out of the trap. But there's nothing else you could do. State law says you must euthanize them, or your trapper must. So you can't relocate them.
Yeah, take them to New Hampshire.
But you're still transporting them through Mass. And then you violate the Federal Lacey Act by crossing state lines, unfortunately. That's a felony. Anyway, Sarah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's a really good point, Dave, of on conservation land. So we can be more restrictive, but all the state laws apply to conservation land already. Just so that we're all on the same page here. We then can be more restrictive than the state. Sarah?
Yeah, that's what I was I mean, yes, there are laws that apply to what people do on their own property, and this one has to do with conservation land. But this is the one that Andre and I should help because this is the provision that deals with beavers and muskrats on conservation land, this is the one that we should work on to get it clear that things can't happen without commission approval.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah,
you-
actually, frankly, it's all everywhere, everywhere within the town. Conservation Commission would have a say as well because beaver because it's wetlands. So keep that in mind as well. Every
Oh, right.
the
Sorry,
beaver
you're
pond
right.
is a wetland. Yeah, no, I know, I know where you're going. I know where you're coming from there. Thanks, Sarah. Dave, were you gonna say the same or?
Well, two things. One is, we don't need to get into the weeds, but, certainly private landowners, if they have the right to trap beavers in season as per Mass state law. So that's Mass law. I mean, you could say no trapping on conservation land. You could make your rules stricter than state law. I'm not recommending that, and I'm hoping you don't do that, because I do think there are some situations where we may not want beavers doing their thing. But anyway,
Yeah,
I think
and
we've
so
covered this.
sorry. And so I think it's in the trapping of the beavers that for emergencies and so on that the Conservation Commission does not have authority. Take a little bit of time to look at those regs on in the appendices and it'll become a little clearer, like mud. All right. Anything else on G? I have nothing else for for wood of any kind to be removed, historic sites, or the use of metal detectors. Anyone else? We're moving to the next page in the original, page 8. I noticed that that on the sorry on the drones number 27 that it it applies to launching, landing, and operation of unpiloted aircraft, but it talks about no lower than the tree line. I mean, the tree line depends on what trees we're talking about. If it's not very clear. Do you have any insight, Bruce, on that one?
I don't remember us talking much about that, but I see the note from Weishut. It implies that it's 1 foot above the land, that any airspace above the land is relevant here. So I don't know what to do with that.
Yeah, so we had originally had this written that that drones were prohibited from conservation land, and so that's where those track changes came in. When we had the town attorney doing a review of our final draft, he called out that that particular prohibition was problematic because it's legal to fly a drone as long as you're following those specific parameters. So those were edits that the town attorney made um, in terms of recommended adjustments to make this meet the federal law.
That makes a lot of sense. I'm doing it on an iPad and I couldn't pull out. I couldn't read any of those comments on it. In that case, then the only thing that can be regulated and that we would want to regulate, if so, is the launching and the uh, landing, I would say.
Right, right. Because if
Yeah, I
they're
mean,
launching or landing, then it would be prohibited. But if they're just flying over the top of the property, I don't think there's anything the commission could do to prohibit that.
I mean, we could be more, I don't know. But I'll go with the town attorney's recommendation on that. Jason?
Here, here.
Yeah, sorry. So, Aaron, can you clarify? I just want to, if the airspace, somebody could launch their drone from public, a public area outside of conservation land and fly over conservation land,
Uh-huh.
come back and land
Uh-huh.
outside of conservation land
Yep.
because we don't have any jurisdiction of the airspace above. Is it above the tree line or 1 foot above the ground? You know, like where does,
My understanding is that we can't regulate um lower than the tree line. So if the drone is flying above the tree line, it's in legal federal airspace. But if it goes below the tree line, then it we can prohibit it at that point.
Oh, maybe we can get some clarification and make sure of that. The other thing that then we're missing is harassment, wildlife harassment or public harassment. I have a friend who's recently gotten also an airplane pilot who's recently gotten one of the FAA permits. Maybe I can. He's a Quabbin Ranger. Maybe I can ask him what kind of regs we could look at.
You said wildlife harassment and what was the other?
And public harassment.
Public
You know,
harassment.
so if somebody starts buzzing people who are walking along a field or something, and there's no tree line around the area. I don't know.
Okay.
yeah, is the tree line the top of the trees?
Yeah, I think that's an interesting question. I can try to get an answer on if there's no trees, what's the verdict there, and if we can include the harassment piece. And I
And then
think,
also
yeah.
case by case basis via land use permit.
Well, I mean, I know just as an example, like um sometimes like the conservation department has a drone, I think, and Dave, correct me if I'm wrong, I think the land managers have a drone that they occasionally use. And they might use it like to assess trails or to get into areas that are like impassable to try to assess what's going on. So there may be situations where like staff are using it for an official purpose. And I think it could also be, for example, I know we talked about this, like if search and rescue situations, they're being used and things like that. So, um, we might say like if you want to use land use application, that's fine, but I would say other official purposes or something like that that might all encompass other purposes they might be used for by town officials or something.
Emergency personnel, etc.
Uh-huh.
Actually, if I could interject, the conservation doesn't have a drone. I think some other departments, I think facilities has a drone and the fire department has a drone.
Oh, okay.
Conservation doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, and remember
Not in the
also,
budget.
yet. Um, remember also, what was I thinking of? We've had land use applications for filming movies, etc. Drones are becoming more and more common in cinematography. So there may be some space for land use permits and such.
Yeah, but and even just like my kids have a little drone, right? And like they wouldn't. It's one of those situations where I don't think anybody would think that it's like you can't fly that thing here, because it's literally like this big. Um, is that considered a drone? And then I could also see somebody just wanting to go on a hike. You're going on a hike and you're just like, oh my gosh, I'd love to get a shot of this, pond or whatever, and just send a drone up with their phone on it and bring it back down. I could see how that could be, as these things get much more ubiquitous.
I can give you a quick address to that. My spouse is was in charge of essentially studying and protecting the piping plover and a bunch of other species, coastal waterbird species. And anything up in the air like that, hovering, including kites and so on, and the people who are doing their kite boarding and all that, the birds go crazy. It disrupts their nesting. They're pretty bad, especially a drone that would be sticking around rather than an actual bird that passes through. But that's just one example. I know that we had a couple of hands up. Oh, your hand's back up.
Yeah, I don't know what we plan to do on all of this once it's all finalized, what we're going to actually do with these, like just have them on the website. But this is something I would like to see like on the kiosks.
Good
and
idea.
sign
Yeah.
goes there.
Absolutely.
That's like
Yeah.
the dog stuff, this should be there, because this is one of those things, like I said, they're becoming much more ubiquitous. And no one's going to be like, oh, I didn't go to the website to read the rules to see if I can fly a drone here. But if it's right there on the kiosk.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think these regs, I think the timing is perfect for the kiosk project to incorporate whatever regulations we've come up with, or to have a section in them for updated regulations or whatever. I don't know, Dave, what plans you got, but anyway.
Yeah, I think that's why we've been trying to get these passed so that we can get them out on the kiosks, and that is the intention. Is the full list of regulations will be included on the kiosks for people.
Mhm. Awesome. All right, so let's visit this one a little further on, and Bruce has a hand up.
I propose we stop and take the agriculture section as a chunk by itself and not end up stopping halfway through the agriculture.
I agree. We still have 28 real quick.
Okay, I saw it coming, and thank you.
Yeah, no, I just looked at my watch. It's almost 9 o'clock. I think it's time for us
Okay.
to adjourn or to stop with this and
Okay.
have our other topics and so on. Number 28. So we're agreeing that we're going to have to revisit this number 27 again after we get some more information. I'll do my little part there. Number 28. I didn't really understand what including the bed of trail, the bed or the trail means. But Dave, you're muted. Sorry.
Oh, were you asking me that question, Andre?
No,
About the
I
bed?
saw your hand up. Did you want to comment on what we were talking about before?
Yeah,
Okay.
for any of us who worked with the subcommittee, it's been a long time, since we've looked at these, and so it kind of jogs your memory. But I want this that sentence again, it's sentence construction, making new trails and modifying existing trails are prohibitive. So this kind of begs the question, does making new trails or modifying existing trails, does that apply to the department as well? Or is this for the public?
I think
You
it was
know,
intended to be for the public. I think
I
these
would
are
imagine.
Yeah,
These-
I think I agree with you, Dave. I
these
think
do mix and
it's a
match,
little, it's a
throughout this
little
document.
confusing. I think it's not just here. I think you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, in other words, most of it seems to be for the public.
But some of it, is for the department. So anyway, I
Right.
just put that out there. Maybe we can tweak that a
Look
little.
at it, maybe look at it with that kind of eye at some point to see if there's a way to clarify
Yeah.
what's applicable to what.
I can see there are many instances, I don't know, a trail gets, I don't know, something happens to a trail, so we move it 10 feet this way, okay, may not be a big deal, but we just don't want to go run afoul of these regulations.
Yeah, I don't imagine that this was intended for, that this one was intended for the town, but I could see how the mix might be confusing, that it's mixed with other
So-
prohibitions.
My understanding is,
Bruce?
well, Dave was finishing.
Oh,
Oh, go ahead, Bruce.
I was going to say, it's my understanding there are volunteer trail maintenance people who don't work for the town but do help clearing of like deadfall and stuff like that. So it's sort of a gray area.
You could just say the public shall not, in places where it's, shall not without permission or
I think
whatever.
I think that's really good. And let's remember that the people who are doing it for the town are doing it on behalf of the town, so they're
Right.
they're covered, if you would.
Okay.
And maybe that's something to put in at the beginning or later at the end.
Yeah, I like that members of the public are not authorized to make new trails,
Yeah.
to make or modify, new
Trails.
trails or modify existing trails.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, rather than because that's, yeah. So I still don't, go ahead.
Could you just repeat that statement so I could just try to make sure I capture it?
Members of the public are prohibited from making new trails or modifying existing trails. As one iteration. Got it?
Yep. And then
Um,
remove this and just keep this includes.
Yeah, now what I don't understand is including the bed of the bed or the trail. Or is that the bed of the trail?
I think-
I'm not
Oh,
sure.
leaf blowing.
Why don't
Was
we take
of
out?
bed of the trail.
I would take out that phrase, including the bed of the trail, because it is included as trails.
So just including leaf blowing and alteration of vegetation.
Yeah,
Oh, you know what they probably mean by that is like sometimes people will like add, for example, like put like move logs or put stones into the trail bed to like fill in holes or like step over a stream or stuff like that. That may be what that's getting at.
well, they're still modifying existing trails.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, okay, we could leave it there and just, yeah, it makes sense if it says including the bed of the trail. I just thought it was two different things.
Okay. So let me change that to of. Okay.
That's, anything else, on 28? Well, that's great. We've made it to page the middle of page, the top of page 8 from 5. So we got got, got a few done. Little by little, we'll get this done. So now we're going to move on to compliance updates. It says see agent, conservation agent reports. Bruce, you got your hand up?
Sorry.
Go ahead, please. Oh, Aaron, were you
Yeah,
suggest-
sorry. I wasn't able to check in with just workload wise, wasn't able to check in with the owner for that one case that we had discussed at the last meeting. So just if I could have a little extra time to try to work that out. But other than that, I don't have any other compliance related updates. It's pretty frozen solid right now.
Okay, great. Monitoring reports, we've got them in the there isn't anything new either. Have we gotten any answers back from the folks that we discussed last week or last meeting?
On the request for certificates of compliance.
Yeah, yeah.
No, but I did speak with the town attorney and regarding your questions on the certificates of compliance. And the I was actually really glad I spoke to him because some of what he told me was really informative for me on this. He basically said that the commission should feel very comfortable issuing partial certificates of compliance, and I explained to him sort of the concern and just what I had heard from other agents in terms of avoidance of issuing them. And he said they are not a full release, that they are a clear partial release, and that the commission shouldn't feel like they can't do a partial release if they feel, sufficient information has been provided. For example, that documents that the construction is complete but they still haven't gotten, the maintenance records that they could theoretically issue a partial saying construction, we confirm construction is completed per the approved plan. However, you still have to do X, Y, and Z per your maintenance requirements in the order of conditions to get a full certificate. So that was really good. And I think basically I got back to both of the applicants and let them know, based on his guidance, based on the town attorney's guidance, I followed exactly what you guys said. I basically said, if you can provide us with 3 years of maintenance records, as well as the other requirements in the order, we'll consider issuing a full. If you only have partial inspection reports and or in conjunction with a contract, a maintenance contract, and a statement from an engineer that the structures are clean and in functioning order, the commission would be willing to issue a partial. So I think, I've conveyed that to the applicants, and I feel much more comfortable now with the partial certificate. So I'm happy about that. And he said
Excellent.
we did the right thing on the previous case where we issued a partial.
Sounds good. Great. Thanks for
Yeah.
that, for doing that research.
Mhm.
Any topics that were not reasonably anticipated 48 hours prior? All right. Anyone from the public? Oh, there we have Jason. Go ahead, please.
All right, I want to just go back. We were talking about the emails and everything like that. I thought we said we should have a vote on it or a motion. Was that, and then I don't think we did.
No, what I did is I suggested that if we could have a vote on it and make and so on, and then Aaron's email responses can be prefaced by as per Conservation Commission policy. But I mean, if we all agree, we can make it policy. Is that right, Aaron, or should we just make have a vote on this?
I think codifying it with a vote makes makes sense if you guys are feeling compelled to do that, and then I can say the commission voted on this. This is what they have asked me to do, so it's just a solid response to people, and there's no question about what's required.
Okay, let's get that done. Can you help us tack out a motion real quick?
So I mean, if I was just gonna spitball it, and I would
Well,
say,
I mean, can you help us? Can you just put your screen up there, and
oh,
we could put this together?
sure. Okay.
I can
Yeah.
spitball for you if you want to type.
Yeah, I was
Excellent.
about to start, but you go for it.
Yeah, I mean, my intention is that all communication from the public to the Conservation Commission must go through the public comment portal on the town's website. And
All written.
yes. So move that all written communication from the public. All written communication from the public to the Conservation Commission must go through the town's public comment portal on the town's website. I think that covers us for what we had discussed.
Absolutely. I think it does too. Any other anyone else have a? All right, let's have a motion.
All right, well, I move that all written communication from the public to the Conservation Commission must go through the town's public comment portal on the town's website.
Jason with a motion.
Seconded. That's Sarah.
Sarah seconds. Sarah,
Aye.
Bruce,
Aye.
Jason,
Aye.
Carol,
Aye.
Rachel,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. Thanks for that, Jason. All right. Now we need a motion to adjourn. Everybody did a great job here.
Move we adjourn. Oh,
Well,
What?
can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Aaron, did you hear anything back from about Olympic Place?
I have not been able to connect with Kyle since our last meeting, and that was my fault because I was workload wise just not able to connect with him. But I will try to do that before the next meeting.
But he hasn't made any attempt to connect with you.
I have not heard from him, and I also have not reached out to him.
Okay.
Thanks, Carol. So we have a motion to adjourn from Jason. I didn't hear a second.
I second it.
Carol,
second.
yeah,
Well, I think Carol beat you to it, Rachel.
We all want to.
that's what I said. She can take it.
All right, Carol,
Yes.
Rachel,
Aye.
Jason,
aye.
Bruce,
Aye.
Sarah,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. Thanks everybody for a great job tonight.
Good work.
See you.
everybody. Thank you.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.